They were known in town simply as the twins. Daniel and David, two brothers who had grown up with nothing but each other. Their father had died when they were small, their mother followed a few years later, and the boys survived by doing odd jobs, lifting crates, cleaning shops, repairing bicycles, anything that paid enough to buy a loaf of bread. People pitied them, sometimes even mocked them, but the twins never complained. They had an understanding between them, a quiet vow made long ago: whatever happens, we stay together. Life was harsh, but simple, until the day everything changed, when the billionaire's daughter walked into their world. Her name was Arya Beaumont, daughter of the richest man in the region, a man whose face appeared on magazines, billboards, and business news. She lived in a world of limousines and private security, a world in which people like the twins didn't exist. At least, not until she wandered into the neighborhood where no one expected to see someone like her. Arya had slipped away from her security team that afternoon. She was frustrated, tired of being monitored, tired of being treated like something fragile, something that needed protection. She just wanted a moment of normal life, a moment to breathe. So she walked, past the nice cafes, past the boutiques, past the busy roads, until she reached the part of town most people avoided. She didn't realize the danger until it was too late. A group of local troublemakers noticed her immediately. A girl wearing a designer coat, clearly out of place, clearly alone. They made comments, circled around her, and within seconds she felt trapped. Panic rose in her chest, but before she could scream, someone else stepped in. Two boys, clothes worn, shoes dusty, faces familiar to that street but strangers to her. Daniel stood between her and the men. David moved to her side, ready to shield her. They didn't know who she was. They didn't know what might happen. They only knew she was scared, and they couldn't walk away. The men laughed at first. Two poor twins against a group of thugs. It sounded like a joke. But Daniel and David were not the type to back down. They had fought their way through life, they had fought hunger, they had fought loss, and now, without thinking twice, they fought for a girl they had never met. The fight was messy and uneven. The twins weren't trained fighters, but they were strong and fearless. They managed to distract, shove, and pull Arya away from the group long enough for her to run. They ran with her, all three sprinting down the street until they ducked behind an abandoned building, breathless. Arya held her chest, coughing, terrified, while the twins checked to make sure they weren't followed. When they finally looked at her, they expected fear, or disgust, or maybe even anger for dragging her into danger. But she looked at them as if she'd just seen sunlight after a storm. She thanked them again and again, her voice trembling. She admitted she had made a mistake coming alone. She apologized for putting them at risk. For the first time in her life, someone had protected her not because they were paid to, not because they had to, but because they chose to. Daniel shrugged and told her it wasn't a big deal. David offered his water bottle. She smiled, something soft and genuine, something she didn't give freely in her world, and the twins felt a warmth they hadn't known in years. Their brief meeting could have ended there, but Arya wasn't ready to leave. She asked their names, asked how they lived, asked why they helped her. She wanted to understand them. The twins hesitated. They had never spoken about their lives to anyone wealthy, anyone who would see them as insignificant, but something about her sincerity disarmed them. So they talked. They walked with her until she found her security team again. Before leaving, she promised she would repay them someday. But the twins didn't believe her. People said thank you all the time. No one ever came back. Except, Arya did. The next morning, a black car pulled up near the alley where the twins usually worked. They froze as the tinted window rolled down and the billionaire's daughter herself stepped out, smiling like she had known them her whole life. She brought food, real food. She brought jackets because she had noticed theirs were thin. She brought a doctor to check their injuries from the fight. But more than anything, she brought friendship. Days became weeks. Arya visited whenever she could, escaping her cold mansion for the warmth the twins carried in their hearts. She laughed with them. She listened to them. She told them things she had never told anyone, how lonely she felt despite having everything. They told her about their dreams. Small dreams. A workshop for Daniel to fix bikes. A small delivery business for David. They never dreamed big because big dreams felt dangerous. Big dreams broke hearts. Arya told them to dream bigger. But her father did not approve. When he discovered his daughter was spending time in a poor district with two nobodies, he was furious. He banned her from going. He sent guards to watch her. He threatened to fire anyone who let her out of sight. Arya was heartbroken, but powerless. The twins went back to their routine. Back to surviving. But they missed her. More than they expected. Then one night everything shifted again. A fire broke out in one of the factories near the neighborhood. People panicked. Smoke filled the streets. And amid the chaos, the twins heard something that made their blood run cold. Arya was nearby. Her car had been forced to reroute due to the fire and she was separated from her security team. The twins didn't think. They ran toward the smoke. Toward the danger. Toward her. They searched for her through crowds and confusion until they heard her coughing, trapped behind a collapsed metal gate. Flames were crawling closer. She was shaking, helpless, her eyes filled with fear the twins recognized instantly, the same fear they had known as children when everything they loved was slipping away. Daniel and David lifted the burning metal with their bare hands. They pulled her out and carried her through the thick smoke, stumbling but determined. They risked their lives completely, not caring if they made it out, only caring that she did. They reached the street where ambulances were lined up, where her security team finally found her. She cried when they placed her in the medic's arms. She begged them to check the twins first. But the guards pushed the boys aside, yelling at them, blaming them for being near her. And that was the last time Arya saw them. Because while she recovered in a hospital, breathing purified air and receiving the best treatment money could buy, the twins were battling the smoke damage in a small clinic with limited equipment. Their lungs were weaker than hers. Their bodies more fragile. They had spent too many nights hungry, too many years exposed to the world's harshness. David didn't survive. Arya found out 2 days later. She rushed out of the mansion, ignoring her father's orders, ignoring the guards, ignoring everything except the ache in her heart. She reached the small clinic where Daniel sat alone beside his brother's body. Daniel didn't cry, he just stared. He looked older than he was. Broken, quiet. Arya fell to her knees beside him. She held his shaking hands. She whispered apologies over and over, begging him to forgive her. She would have traded all her wealth to bring David back. Daniel finally looked at her and whispered that it wasn't her fault. David had made a choice, just like he had made a choice the day they protected her the first time. They didn't help her because she was rich. They helped her because she was human. Because she needed them. But Arya could see the truth in his eyes. She was the reason David was gone. And it would haunt her forever. Arya did everything she could afterward. She paid for David's funeral. She got Daniel the workshop he had dreamed of. She visited him often, never letting him fall back into the shadows of poverty. But the twins would never be two again. And Arya would never be the same girl who wandered into the wrong street. She learned that loyalty doesn't come from money. It comes from hearts brave enough to love without asking for anything in return. In Daniel, he kept the last words his brother had spoken before entering the smoke. Even if we die doing it, some people are worth saving. And that truth broke all their hearts, forever.